Yo, what up, Lauren?
That was aggressive.
I know. I just felt like being I don't know what I am today. That's what I am. I had to push it up. What? I'm wearing camo. I'm wearing camouflage. So yes, I feel like I have to be more powerful in this. Okay. My $4 Old Navy shirt.
I love a good $4 Old Navy shirt.
Dude, you can't beat it. Guys, that's Lauren. I'm Nat. Hi. Lauren, who are you? And why do we care?
I'm Lauren Oak. I am Wonder Woman, aka the resident postpartum doula. I'm also a lactation counselor. You know, snack maven because I love a good snack.
Twin mom.
Twin mom.
Should probably remind people of that.
Oh yeah. Twin mom. I thought everybody knew that already. That's all right.
I would hope by now that they know who we are. But what if this is the first episode they ever listen to, and then we realize how bad we are at introducing ourselves?
They need to know who we are. Okay.
So what am I? I'm Nat. I'm that's about it.
You're the star.
Of what?
Twiniversity.
Ugh, no. Please. I say no to that. The star, I'll take a pass. Unless I get something on like the Walk of Fame. Like maybe we should have a Twiniversity Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Yes, Lauren. Now we're talking about it.
With our name.
I like it.
Yes, like a little banner.
But do we make people pay for that? You know, in Hollywood, they actually pay for their own that.
You have to pay for that.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That's a little weird. But then again, who else is going to pay for it? Although, like, the Hollywood studios should pay for it.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
I was very disappointed to find that out. I'm Googling how much it is.
It's It's like 50 grand or something.
No, I think that's low.
How much is it?
Okay, ready? Guess.
Yeah. What?
Guess how much you think
I said 50 grand.
75,000.
Jeez.
That's used to pay for the creation and installation of the star, as well as maintenance.
What if we're just normal people? What if you're a normal person, but you have $75,000 to burn? You think we could just get one?
Don't even. I literally will start a GoFundMe.
Should we have a GoFundMe for this?
Lauren?
I wonder if you can.
Lauren?
Let's do it. Okay, everybody listening to this podcast, send us $75,000.
Lauren, I literally, like, my heart stopped because but I wanted to say Twiniversity.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do we think that? So yeah, no matter where you are, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, like, please put in the comments that you think this is the worst idea of the money we've ever spent. I feel like, yes, it's absolutely a waste of money.
But it's a necessity.
I don't even know what to say. And then also, like, above it, there's the record for record people and like a movie thing. What else? Like, what are the other options?
Like, which one? Microphone?
We would have what for the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
I don't think anybody could do it. I don't think that's a real thing.
You're going to go down a rabbit hole and find out if we could just do it for ourselves for funsies.
It says, can I nominate someone for a Walk of Fame star? You can nominate your favorite celebrity with their permission. Am I a celebrity?
I'm going to nominate you.
But would I be like, what warrants somebody being a celebrity?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I would be a celebrity amongst like twin families,
yes,
but nobody else would know who I am.
Are there enough twin families out there that could nominate you?
Lauren, there's no way.
Because you're definitely like when we would go to the conferences and we'd walk into the hotel lobby, people's like you'd see the women's necks, like their heads turn, be like, oh, there she is. And I'd have to like push people away.
That's for my beauty. Because that's also because I'm so much bigger than people think that I am.
But remember, like I'd have to do some like security detail and like get people away from you because they'd like follow you to your hotel room. I'd be like, listen, she needs space.
How many people have we taken into our circle that follow us?
True, but then there's some stalkers. But then there's some people who like where I'm like,
honestly, okay, like no joke. I got to feel
they really want to be in your inner circle, if you know what I'm talking about. Like,
hello, how are you? Yeah, I have like 2 people in Twiniversity that have actually like really worried me. I
had a little stalker. Remember, I think it was in Connecticut. There was
a stalker that lives in your area. What are you talking about?
next door.
So yeah, like, come on, let's be honest with ourselves. So maybe does that warrant that now I'm a celebrity because I've had like
a stalker?
Not in God forbid I actually have like a real stalker.
I know. That's
God forbid. That's horrible. Yeah, I'm knocking on wood and getting superstitious. But you know what I'm saying? Like, does that warrant, like, how many people have to know you in order to be a celebrity?
I don't know.
I think as twin moms in general, didn't you feel like a celebrity when you had the babies and like you were walking down the street and everybody's like, oh my God.
Constantly.
And the twins?
Yeah, the grocery store, Target, anywhere I went. Twins? Yes, twins.
And you're like, no.
That's it. I like that one in the parking lot.
There would definitely be days that I'd be like, no, they're not twins. I babysit both of them. That's what I would tell people. On like days that really I just wasn't having it.
There were certain days where I was like, I can't talk to you for 5 minutes I have to go.
I always try to like see it through their eyes though.
Yeah, I would always be nice, but every once in a while.
It just gets to be a lot. Do you think you were ready for that? Like, did anybody warn you that you would turn into a weird neighborhood celebrity sideshow that you had twins?
Nope. No one.
Me neither. I had no idea, especially like being here in like this little island called Manhattan. And I would walk around with my twin stroller. The side by side, I actually felt that more people asked me than because
they were right there in front of them. Yeah.
I preferred that though. My side by side was my jam. Everybody knows I'm partial. I don't care what anybody says. I liked my tandem. Don't get me wrong. But my side by side, I could yell at everybody, get in! And I didn't have to lift anybody up. They just crawled right in there.
Yeah.
What did you have with the twinnies? I don't even know.
I had the tandem for when they were little. And I kept that tandem until they were 11 years old. Because
that's how long you had to still use it.
I was a hoarder and I didn't want to I felt like if I got rid of it, I was getting rid of part of me. Like I used it for when Molly came, my singleton, my youngest, I used it. I put her in the bucket seat and then I put all the crap in the other.
Smart.
I did have side by sides, but they weren't great. Like the options back in the dark ages when they were born, like I had a jogging stroller, but the front wheel didn't swivel.
Yeah.
And
so that's tough.
So I could only go straight.
Yeah. You'd have to literally like pop up that wheel in order to change direction.
It was horrible. It was the worst design. And it was only the one versus I would have now known to get the ones with the wheels on each side. And then I had like some inexpensive umbrella strollers that I kind of used for a while. The twin ones. But at that Graco, because that was really like the only limousine style one and it was brown. Like there weren't any cool
I had the same
colors.
exact one. No, it was horrible.
It
really was.
But I kept it. And I remember I used it for Molly. And then I watched my nephew, who's now like 9. And I used it for him. And finally Dan was like, that's it. We got to get rid of this thing. And I was like, but. And then we threw it away because it had been through the ringer.
I am very happy to tell you they still make that exact stroller.
Oh, I'm sure.
But now it is not brown. No.
Oh, it was doo-doo brown. It was horrible. I was like, this is the only option? Really? Come on.
That was literally it. Lauren, honestly, like guys out there in podcast land and YouTube town, wherever the heck you're watching this or listening to this, you're so lucky. Like, just be thankful. And I know it's overwhelming. That's the bad part.
That's the
because we didn't have a choice. So it was like, that was it. The end.
That was it. And it was like the only affordable one. Like I put it on my registry because I had so many other things on my registry. And like, I didn't want to put like something ridiculously expensive. Now in retrospect, I would have done that.
But also we're different types of moms.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes like I'm working with families and they're like, oh, whatever, put it on, somebody will buy it. Yeah. Or like now multiple people will buy stuff, like they'll chip in.
Yes.
That's much more common than 76 years ago when we had our kids.
Yep.
So it's so much different now. Yeah. But you know what? One thing that hasn't changed. It's where this is my intro into
transition.
Thank you. Because I couldn't think of the word. The types of twins that are born.
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl, I'm noticing something really crazy. Like no like joke. And I've talked about this with the Twiniversity team, but the amount of identical twins that I'm seeing right? So they would say like Momo twins or like that's what it would be. So it's they're sharing one home and one placenta. So in other words, there's no independent sacs. The number of that I'm seeing is really going up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding, Lauren. Like, honestly, like with the Live Twiniversity class, I like specifically asked, like, what types of twins are you having, right?
Yeah.
Because we have the on-demand class, which I don't really see you guys, right? You're just taking that class at your pace. But for the live class, which the attendance has been really good, so please join us because we're having the best time ever. we get to meet each other, and I always say, and no, if you're going to take this class, mark my words. This is what I'm going to ask you: who you are, where you're from, how many weeks you are. And what are you having?
Yep.
And so people would be like, hi, I'm Nat. I'm 32 weeks. I'm from New York City. I'm having boy-girl twins. Right. So it's like whatever. Sometimes I like if they're with their partner, I'll make their partner say it just to see if they actually know.
They won't know. They'll be like,
I'm going to actually this month I'm going to ask them, but I'm going to say no cheating. Like, I don't want to see anybody's lips move before I get to you.
Like, don't side text your partner or write it down.
Do you know what else I do? I give away random things on my desk during class.
Yes. Like a half-used gift card to Starbucks or something.
Last month, it was $1.
Okay. Did you mail it to them?
Yep. It goes in their package when I send out the goodie bags. So that's why I usually hold off on my goodie bags. So last month it was $1. And I had a little sample tub of towels thing. And I had some salt and pepper pistachios.
Oh, those are good.
They got some of those.
I like those.
Yes. So every time is different. This time I'm already going to tell you because like if today was class, I would be giving away this plastic knife.
Oh, is there remnants from something that you ate, like butter? Okay,
this was clean.
Okay.
That's a clean one. And then other random things, it may be this dowel. It could be, I don't know where, probably once I give away this dowel, I will find out where it's going to be, it needed to be. Because why do I have a dowel?
You'll be running to the local hardware store saying, I need one dowel.
That's it. And then maybe some alcohol pads.
Oh, I love those. I keep those in my bag.
You never know.
I like to clean my phone with it, or if I feel like I need to kill some germs.
Yeah, I love those too. I actually use them to believe really why I have that. I always wipe my nails down with alcohol before I paint them.
Yes, because it dries off all the oil
and all the grossness. And then I feel like my manicure lasts longer because me and Beyonce, another twin mom, we do our own nails. I don't even know where I heard that.
You think that's true?
I don't know. I heard that like a few years ago, and then my
Maybe
sister heard it.
During the pandemic, she did?
No, this was way pre-pandemic. Because I don't like to get a manicure. I don't know why. I like to get a pedicure, but I found out and I was like, oh my God, Beyonce does her nails too. I have quite an assortment of nail stuff. But meanwhile, I only use the same freaking color every time. So yeah, what else?
Yep.
But I digress. So talking today, we're going to meet Lacey, and she is a twin mama, and she had basically Momo twins. So it's it's interesting. It's a much harder pregnancy, and there's a lot more risks that go along with it. But it's important to hear stories of people that have been through it, because I think then you're less scared and you're like, okay, if Lacey did it, I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
So yeah. Do you have like out of the families that you worked with, have you worked with any Momo twins, mono twins? Like, have you had a lot of them?
I think I had one. Yes. The one family I worked with the summer of 2020. They were, but other than that, a lot of fraternal twins.
It's interesting, because not only do you have the issue with like the placenta not being distributed appropriately, right? So you have like, there's a lot of things that could happen. And so that's like the twin to twin transfusion. And then there's the twins amniotic polycystic, something TAPS. There's TAPS as well.
Yes.
So we have that. And then there's like, I believe 2 or 3 more things that could happen.
Yeah.
With the one placenta. But then when you have the one house and they're like little spacemen, they could get tangled in each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they could press one, like the umbilical cord of one against your uterine wall.
Hold on to it.
Oh my God, these kids, I'm telling you. Already they're causing trouble.
From conception. That's that.
From conception. So yeah. So we're going to meet Lacey today. And Lacey is a mama bear of this type of twinnies. Are you ready to hear about her adventure?
Yes.
Okay. Buckle up, kids. It might be a little bumpy, but you got to listen. Here's Lacey.
Welcome to our fancy podcast, Lacey.
Hello.
Could you believe that you're here? Could you believe it? It's all happening right now. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. We love talking to our twin mamas. I love talking to our mono mamas because, as I was just telling you right before we pressed record, this is the trend in twins right now. I mean, you are not cool unless you have mono twins. So I want to dig in and how did you find out? When did you find out? How did this whole thing occur? Because I know first of all, do people even know what mono twins are? We have a wonderful article on Twiniversity about all the different twin types. And typically nobody knows anything about the twin types unless you have a special twin type. Most people have die twins, which means that they each have their own apartment and they each have their own vending machine. And then you have monodi twins, which is a single apartment with double vending machines. And you have a wonderful combination of all of these things. So you had the added bonus of having the single apartment with the single vending machine.
Yes. Yeah. And I found out I had an appointment at 7 weeks. And prior to this, I had 2 pregnancies that were 0 complications. And we were trying for a baby. So I went into this appointment just happy and excited, thinking it's going to be just like the others. And we get in there, and it was actually the doctor who did the scan. And, she started and first was like, there's 2 babies. And I had a couple seconds of that, excited, shocked, oh my goodness. And then I could see there was a look of concern on her face. And she was looking a little closer. And that's when she kind of just dove right in and explained to us, like, do you see how close they are? And that there's no membrane, there's nothing in between them. That means they're mono twins, which, mind you, before this, like that, I thought identical fraternal. That's it. That's all I knew. But then, she explained what they were and that, they're floating around in there together. And that brings along a very high risk pregnancy. And because they can get tangled in there. And then she also went in to explain that around, 24 to 28 weeks, they're going to want you to go live in the hospital until they're born at no later than 32 to 34 weeks. And you're definitely going to have a C-section, like vaginal is not an option. And it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. But I remember leaving there really overwhelmed. That's for sure. And it was so much new information, like that, having 2 other kids. I remember thinking, like, oh my goodness, like even just already thinking to staying in the hospital for so long, which is so crazy to me. So yeah, it was a lot. We were really early on. And then to know right from the get-go, there's a lot going on was kind of crazy.
It is a very complicated pregnancy. It shouldn't say it's usually they have their eyes on you a lot more because of the complications.
Yes.
Most of the time, knock on wood, the complications don't arise, but because you have to be monitored, if and when the poop is going to hit the fan, they're going to have eyes on you quicker and then be able to kind of adjust to whatever's happening.
Yes. Yeah, because she also referred us in that appointment. She immediately referred us to an MFM at another hospital, who was the high risk doctor. And yeah, it was weekly appointments. It started off switching between the OB and them. And then there was one appointment that there looked to be some concern. And then from then on, it was every week at the high risk doctor until I went to the hospital.
So what were they looking for whenever you went? What were the big things? Were they growth markers? Were they placement? Was it where their umbilical cords were? Specifically when you went, did they say, okay, here's this and here's what we're looking for? Or are they just doing a general check?
Really every time like that, it was at first just kind of the general check, making sure they're growing how they should, because this type of twin also has the chance of TTTS. But then after that, it was always they did a Doppler of their cords and always checked the blood flow in both of their cords, all along it as much as they could, because as the weeks went on, it kind of became a jumbled mess. But it was really amazing to see these ultrasounds that they could go in and see exactly how the blood flow was going. So it was, that was the major thing every week that we were doing.
It's something that could turn at the drop of a hat.
Yes.
So for those of you that are listening, maybe you're first time listeners at Twiniversity, if you are, welcome. Where have you been? We've been waiting for you for like 200 episodes, but whatever. But what TTTS is basically there's a donor twin and a recipient twin, and it only happens when you have one placenta. And basically it's that one baby gets too much and one baby gets too little. And often people think that the bigger issue is of the littler twin. However, the bigger twin has equally as great concerns that could be catastrophic concerns. And so TTTS goes from level 1 through 5. Level 1 is like, yeah, we see something happening. And level 5 is basically that both twins have passed. So you do have to actually keep a really close eye on it, not only for TTS, but TAPS too, which is the blood flow that basically one baby gets ketchup and one baby gets soy sauce. And they both need to have the correct number of blood cells as well. So when you share a placenta, yeah, that's what happens. It's weird. I didn't need to know all this biology, Lacey. I have to say I was never good at anything in science, but it happens so often in our universe that it sucks in plain English. And, it does have these higher risks, but it does bring you a higher reward because now you have these unbelievable little identical twinnies. And so when they were born, you said you had to have a C-section, right? They told you no vaginal delivery. What was their reason for that?
Just the dangers that would come along with having them vaginally, with not knowing exactly where their cords are and how tangled they are, and that it was too risky to do that, and like that it was just much safer to do a C-section.
I think that people also in general, when they find out that news for the first time, they don't realize that, well, once upon a time, there was so much like hype around how people are scheduling C-sections because doctors don't want to wait for delivery. But when it comes to a mano-mano or momo pregnancy, you really do, because if one baby starts hatching and is trying to pull the cord with them, we're in trouble because then the other one is not getting oxygen and everything that it needs to while the first one's getting delivered. So it's certainly not for fun that they're giving you the C-section. And so I always feel like I
completely understood.
Yeah. But Lacey, at the same time, like, were your first two kids delivered vaginally?
Yes.
So this was new. You probably went under the assumption like, oh, okay, even though it's twins, like you're like, okay, at least I know what that's like. So instead of having two at different times, we'll just happen to have it at the same time. Were you disappointed by that?
I don't know if I'd say disappointed, because like that, I think I understood why. But I was nervous because like that I hadn't had much experience with surgery at all, and so then like that to have so many weeks of knowing it's going to happen was kind of nerve-wracking. And like I tried to prepare as much as I could, which definitely helped, and I think that was a benefit of knowing right from the bat that I was going to, was like that I could prepare myself and know what's going to all come along with it, rather than in a true emergency that you had no idea was going to happen. But I don't think I was too disappointed. I mean, I think I obviously would have preferred not to, but I like that I understood why, and so it didn't really bother me that much.
I always hope that it makes people feel better. Like the why. I think the why is critical, not only in pregnancy but like in life. I think that knowing the whys of things makes whatever it is less disappointing. Now, how did you, now knowing that you basically have, this rumble that is this crazy mess of babies that are swimming beautifully and could get tangled, and you have all these crazy things, how did you just trust that things were going to be okay? Like, what was your method of staying focused and staying positive and, making sure that your older two weren't freaking out that you were pregnant again and watching you worry? So what was like your method of keeping the calm?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I reminded myself was like, why worry until there's something to worry about? At this point, like this type of complication or risk, nothing was wrong with the babies. And so like that, I just kept reminding myself that I have two healthy, beautiful babies in there. And like that, I should stay positive and try not to worry until there's, anything to worry about. And I think it helped that I had two kids also, because like that, I didn't want to freak them out. And I wanted to be still happy through this process as much as I could. And to kind of stay strong for them. And like that, I think having them to help have that reason helped a lot for sure.
How did you prepare them?
Well, so one is 9, and so he completely understood what was going on. And like that, I was just very open book with him, explained it. And like that, and he's a very, just a sweet kid. So he understood like that, like it stings, mom has to go to the hospital, but we're doing it to keep the baby safe and your sister safe. And so he was really, really good with that. My other one was 2, my other boy, and he just didn't really truly know what was going on. He was kind of just hanging out and going along for the ride. And like that, I think it was weird from at first when like that went from me being home all the time to then, a couple times a week coming up to the hospital to see me. And I think he after a while kind of figured out what was going on. And then as soon as I brought the babies home, he was great. And I was really surprised at how great he did. Cause like that, I don't think he you wonder if he knew one baby was coming home, let alone 2 of them.
Surprise.
So, yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. But he did great. He did great.
Oh, so how did delivery go for you? Was it, you were on bed rest in the hospital, which is wonderfully beneficial. And, during the pandemic, we did see that people were delivering later and later. It's because we were basically all on bed rest. Right. But now here you are, and now you go into the hospital, you're on bed rest. Did they say, okay, this is our hard stop, Lacey? Or did they say like, okay, let's push it day by day?
No, for me, it was actually, I get there and got on the monitors, and they really had me mainly on like a continuous monitoring. I got breaks for meals and then like a longer break at night. And which I don't know, it seems like it isn't always typical. Sometimes I think places will do like 3 times a day. But so we went along, and for a long time, it was fairly uneventful. They kept growing great, looking good with the ultrasounds and the monitoring. There was a period where I started having more intense contractions, which we were seeing was affecting their heart rates. But they had some sort of medication to put me on. It like calmed my uterus down, is how they described it. And that helped with that. And then from there, it kind of kept going smooth sailing. And then at 31 weeks, like that, our goal was 32 at this point. I think my doctors were just more leaning towards 32, safe, rather be safe than sorry, kind of thing. There wasn't a date set yet, but like that, we get to 31 and a day, and I go into my ultrasound. Mind you, the one that we had on Friday was great. They looked good, no blood flow issues. They were growing like they should. And then go in on Monday morning, and they can see at the placenta insertion that there is some compression there. And the doctor kind of first sees it and, explained what was going on. And it's like, it's worrying me, but I think maybe if we go back, take your medication, we'll monitor them for 4 more hours. And see how that goes, see if it helps. So I kind of had an idea that it's like, okay, but he said, he's like, I really don't see them coming today, but I just really want to watch them closely right now. And I was like, okay, I totally understand that. So we go back, we do that. And they're looking fine, but we go back to the ultrasound again after that 4 hours, and you can see that it's gotten worse. And so that's when he was just like, let's call it it's just at this point we need to get the babies out. And thankfully, the first time he seemed concerned, I called my husband and was like, hey, something's going on, like he says probably not today, but just can you come up here? And so he left work, came up here, which I'm really glad he did, because then the 4 hours later, the doctor called and was like, we're going for a C-section. And it was about an hour after that I was in there having the babies. So I would consider it more of like an urgent C-section. It didn't seem like emergent to me. Like they really weren't like oh my gosh, get you in the room like right now. It was more of like, okay, like we don't want this to get any worse.
Yeah. But at the 4 hours before, they're like, stop eating. Like, did they just say just in case?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you were ready. So then you kind of knew it's okay, good. So now we have these babies. We go into the C-section. How big were they at that time?
So they were baby A was 4 pounds 1 ounce, and baby B was 3 pounds 14 ounce. So they were pretty good size for 31 week. So that was really awesome. And kind of right on track with where they looked on the ultrasounds. So I think that helped them out a lot, that even though my other babies were very large, and so they just seem so tiny to me, which was crazy.
It's true, but see, to you they'd be tiny. To us who never had babies before, you'd be like, this is the size of a baby. And that's that. What do we know? So when you were in the hospital and you were on bed rest, what did you do to pass the time? I mean, that's a lot of time that you're in there. Did you take up a special hobby? Did you learn to play the ukulele? What exactly were you doing in that hospital?
For like the beginning, I really kind of took advantage of just being lazy. Lots of Netflix and naps. I like that. I love naps, but with kids, you don't always get them. So I took lots of naps in the beginning. But then as the weeks went on, it got harder and harder and more boring. Because like that, you're pretty much in the hospital room by yourself for long periods of time. I mean, the nurses come in and check on you whenever you need. And like that, I didn't live too far, so my family came up often and I had visitors. But in the meantime, I read books. My favorite thing I did though was I managed to get crafty, and I YouTubed how to crochet those little like octopus toys.
Oh yes.
And so I made 2 for each of, I was really impressed with myself. So even if you have like I had no crocheting experience whatsoever. So that's something you could do. Even if you have zero crocheting abilities, just YouTube how to do it and try it out.
God bless YouTube, man. That's where I learned all my craftiness.
For
That's
real.
so sweet. I love how you were like, this is what's happening. Sounds good. When people are having nervous breakdown after nervous breakdown, that they have to go into the hospital and what's going on. What was it really that was it the break of being in the hospital and you're like, yes, with a 2-year-old at home, this is really not so bad?
It was a mixture. I think it was that I like that in this emotional roller coaster of pregnancy, I was like, look on the bright side of things. And like that, I missed my kids terribly. It was really, really hard to leave them and be up there. But like that, I just decided, I'm here to make sure that the babies are okay though, and this is what's best for our family. And me and my husband kind of always had this thing where it was like when we'd end a phone call or we'd leave, I'd say, take care of the boys, and he'd say, take care of the girls. And it was just, it's like that, just to look on the brighter side of things. Like, I'm stuck in this hospital room, but I never get to just watch TV whenever I want. So I'm going to enjoy watching TV whenever I want, or I can't always take a nap. So I'm going to take a nap whenever I want. So
that's so fantastic. Okay. So sit right there. When we come back, I want to talk to Lacey about telling them apart and when you got home and in the hospital and all of that insanity. So sit right there. We'll be right back.
Okay.
So we have these kids, they come home, even in the hospital. Now we know that they're going to be identical, but there is definitely a varying degree of identical. So to a parent, I shouldn't say to the outside world, because it all comes out at the wash at some point where they really look super identical. When the girlies were here, were you just absolutely, I have no idea who's who?
Yes. So, really like when they were born, one was bigger than the other. So that kind of helped a little bit, but not by much. Mm-hmm. So it was really hard to tell. And I feel like I blame the NICU. I mean, you always have they're always in the same side. Like whenever we first moved into the NICU, they each had their own room, but they were attached, but they always stayed in the same side. And then we moved into, a room together, and their cribs ended up being on the same side. So for the longest time, it was more of just, I knew, and they're, attached to cords and machines. Mm-hmm. You can't ever switch them, even if you tried. So for a while, it was just, I paid attention by that and knew by that because they looked so much alike. And then we get them home, and I kind of found myself keeping them on those same sides to help me out. And I did paint. One trick I did was I painted one of their toenails and then wrote in on my notes in my phone which one I painted the toenail so that I could remember. That was like my backup. It just in case. And really now, I mean, it's still, they look identical.
Do you think you've ever confused them?
Not like for a long time. I mean, I have moments where I'm sitting there thinking I'm talking to one, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, you're not, no, that's not your name.
What do the kids do? Like, how do the boys react to the identicalness of the girls?
I was actually amazed when we first brought him home, my 2-year-old, he like always guessed right. I was like, is there some weird brother intuition here? But then now, normally they're asking us which one is which, because they still haven't quite figured it out. I think my older one's starting to, because as the babies are getting bigger, their weight gap is getting, I mean, you can just see it a little bit more. I mean, they're both growing great as they should. It's just the one is bigger than the other. And so I think my older one can see that. And so he can kind of start relying on that a little bit.
Oh my goodness gracious. I do. I'm fascinated by identicals. You would think that I'd be over them by now, but I'm really not. I think it's such a unique pregnancy that to me, it was like Mother Nature like made this like perfect rose. Is the way that I think about it. Like, it's like flowers are beautiful, but this is like the most like special because it's so unique, and for them to thrive and make it, and you to be so happy and content, that makes me so happy. But how does the family, like, how, when your mother-in-law comes over or aunts and uncles, does anybody know who anybody is?
Now a good trick, and it started working, is I typically put one always in like the pinks and then the other in purple, and I've told them this trick, and so when they get there, they still always ask, but they're always like, she's in pink, she's this one, and I'm like, yep, you're right. And then actually for a while, which I almost want to get more made, they've outgrown those sizes, but my mom actually, as a gift before they were born, bought us a bunch of onesies with their names on them. And so when people were coming over, I put those on, so you don't even have to clarify, because you can see right there on their shirt who they are.
I really love that. I think we should just get them the little name tags that say, hello, my name is.
Yes.
Like when you go to meetings. That's it. Just stick them on them every time. The end. That's all. You just have to hope that nobody switches the name tags on you. I have a friend, Bridget, and I've talked about her on the show before, and she has identical girls, and she always did exactly what you did. But nobody ever, her daughter is Maddie. I think it's Ava is the other one. I can't put money on it because it's so funny that I can only remember Maddie's name. But they would call her Maddie Green because she was always wearing green. So to me, for my whole time that I have known her, I just would know her as Maddie Green. That's it. And so it's good. Color coding is a big one. Yes. Now, what are you most looking forward to as they're getting bigger?
I think it's just like that, to see the bond that they have for sure, but also how, like, I still feel like I can already see some differences in them, and just like that, they are identical twins. They look exactly alike. You know, they were literally as close as they could possibly be in the womb. And I think it'll be really cool to see how they grow up and how close they are and like that, but also their differences and how they're their own person. And we actually, it was kind of a joke when we were in the NICU and we were getting towards the end, we actually ended up, they were going to let us take one home before the other. And we were really excited to bring her home. It was kind of a bittersweet thing though, because it was like that we were going to leave the other one there. And we were literally, all we had left to do was sign the discharge papers. And she ended up having a Brady. That was bad enough that they were like, she can't go anymore. And you know, it was devastating in the moment. But then it ended up, after all of that, they got to come home on the same day. And so we joked that she did it. She did not want to leave her sister behind. She was like, I'm not leaving without her.
For those of you out there that are new to this world, it's a bradycardia. So it's basically just a hard thing, which is such a normal preemie thing. You'll hear the word Brady and DSAT, 800 bazillion times in the NICU. And you could either have a nervous breakdown every time, or you could take a page out of Lacey's book and be like, yes, here we go. Yes. And it's so scary. Like when you first get down to the NICU and they're like, well, here's what's happening. And you're like, what? She's passing out from drinking? What's going on? And then you're like, come on, baby, get with it. And that's it. It's so funny how we go through all of these things and you're like, wow, that was crazy what I was dealing with. Did you not have any NICU time with the boys, or you did?
None. They were both full term, 40 weeks.
Jeez Louise, man, you did it. You're living the dream, man. Look at you go.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
so excited for you.
Yes.
Now, what is looking back now, because the babies, I mean, they're not, in college yet, they're still teeny tiny. But if you meet another family of twins that's expecting mono twins with the, complications that come along with it, what are the things that you think they should know?
I think, like that it is kind of a stressful pregnancy at the beginning. It just seems really scary, but like that, to know that there are so many success stories, and I would like look up, what helped me a lot was finding a Facebook group with tons of success stories, finding some moms on Instagram, and seeing pictures of their babies after they're born and their journey that they had. It's definitely helpful. And like that, to find the positives and look on the bright side and try not to worry until there's something to worry about. Definitely. And I also think, knowing that it is a more stressful, high risk pregnancy, it's okay to not always be okay, but if you're struggling, to definitely not be afraid to get help. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things going on, and to talk to somebody about it and know how to cope with it better will help you enjoy your pregnancy a lot more if you do that at the get-go, rather than waiting until they are in the NICU or anything like that.
Because you had kind of the last trimester almost of your pregnancy in the hospital, I want to just play with it so bad. It's so cute and tiny. How did you get like your house ready? Before you went into the hospital, did you get their nursery ready, or like what did you have ready and not ready?
I did. I decided to have it all done before they were born, because like that, like I know some people are like, oh, they're going to be in the NICU, you have plenty of time, but I did not want to worry about that at all. I wanted to have them ready, and I really tried to get the house in order as much as possible, because I knew that my husband was going to be basically single dadding it for, well, ended up being 6 weeks. So I wanted to prepare him, prepare for them and him and the boys as much as I could, for sure, to make it easier on them. And I wanted like that just to be able to come home and everything be ready to go, and be as easy and simple as possible.
What were some ways that people supported your husband while you were in the hospital that he found beneficial?
Oh, I mean, everybody was dropping off meals. That was a big thing, was helping him with food. He also coached for school, and so he had games that he needed to go coach and be gone for the evening, and we always had someone willing to come watch the boys and take care of them whenever we needed, which was huge. And we also had our parents were willing to sometimes watch the kids and let him come up to the hospital and kind of have some time to himself and to come see me, I think, which helped as well, for sure.
Was there anything that you and him did specifically that made you feel stay connected during the time? Because I mean, like, physically you're going to be apart, and then you're doing your separate jobs, and I think that was so sweet that you'd like take care of the boys and you take care of the girls. I think that's great. But there's people who go through this and have so much trouble with it, and then husbands didn't sign up for this, and they didn't know that it was going to be such a difficult bed rest. I think, first of all, that your husband was a dad already and kind of knew the ropes of going through it made things a lot easier. But how did you, reassure him, or vice versa, that you guys were going to be okay?
Yeah, I think just reminding him like that, like, he was already very involved with the kids, and like that, trying to, remind him as well to, enjoy the time with them. And I think it was good in the sense of, my youngest son really became a dad's boy through it. And I think their bond, really grew because they had so much more time together. And like that, looking on the bright side of, at least out of, this is not ideal, this is hard, but at least there's that you're getting this great quality time with them, and just reminding them that he's doing a great job, and, that he's like that. It's not something you would think you would sign up for. And it is hard. And I mean, like to split those responsibilities and being used to, I mean, me being there, even just the little things, to me that all of a sudden is thrown onto him, like that would be, I mean, kind of probably overwhelming at times, but he did it great. And I just reminded him of that.
Aw, you're so sweet, Lacey.
Oh,
Aw, that's it. Your Hubs is a lucky guy. I'm so happy that you really wanted to share this with us, because a lot of times when people hear that mono pregnancy, they immediately go into a panic and a spiral, and they assume the worst, and they're sitting on pins and needles for weeks and weeks and weeks until delivery. But I think people listening that, no, it's going to be okay. I mean, yes, to sit on pins and needles, what really is that going to do for you? It's not bringing any positivity to the babies. That's certainly for sure. Oh, so now how are they doing now? How are they doing now?
They're amazing. They are growing like crazy. They're like little chunks, which is just amazing to see, because like that being so born so early, they were just little things, and they're just growing so much, and it's awesome. They're so smiley. They're the happiest babies, and yeah, they're doing great. They really are. It's like that. All of it was worth it. That's for sure.
How are they sleeping? How are they eating? How's all the logistics of twin life going?
Great at both. My other two, I like didn't think it was really possible for babies to sleep through the night, and let alone to have two, but they are doing so good at sleeping. And I think maybe part of that was, coming home from the NICU, we really kind of kept them on that schedule and routine. And then we just kind of kept extending the nighttime. And then now, they sleep amazing, which is really, really, I feel very blessed, very blessed.
I feel very blessed for you. So yes, we will not speak of that further to tempt the universe.
Yes.
I'm so happy. And Lacey, thank you so much for playing with us today, and just for really sharing the positivity that it's going to be okay. And just like you said, a good thing is following families that had, positive outcomes, and certainly we could follow you. So I love that. I love that. Yay, Lacey. Thank you very much for playing with us today.
Thank you.
Guys, and for those of you that are out there in the twin universe, just know if you need anything from us, or if you want to stalk Lacey, everything's going to be in the show notes, so you'll know how to find us. But just in case you don't feel like reading today, you could email us at community@twiniversity.com, or drop us a direct message on any freaking social platform of your choice. We would love to see you, and we're just so happy that you're a part of our Twiniversity family. So until next time, guys, see you later, alligators.